I'm joined on the line by Peter Creel from the Independent Institute of Education, and he's going to speak to us about this year's Matric results. Thank you so much for joining us, Peter.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, the entire country is talking about that 75.8%, down almost 3% from last year, but the president says it's good news. In your opinion, is it?
Well, I think it's needless to say that it's disappointing, but like the Minister of Education, Basic Education outlined, it was to be expected. You know, the CAPS curriculum was brought in. In my opinion, it's a very good curriculum, a big improvement on the past. So I think the challenge was slightly higher and therefore the drop in pass rate, and that's not always a bad thing. I think that quality education that these matriculants received in the last 3 years was really of a high standard, certainly of a higher standard than before, and therefore I don't think we need to be overly concerned.
Peter, could you explain to us what is the CAPS curriculum and how does it differ from our previous curriculum?
Well, the CAPS curriculum was a revised curriculum in its approach. I think the previous curriculum, based on outcomes-based education, there was a lot of criticism around that. The approach or the pedagogical approach, the teaching approach, varies in CAPS in that it opens up many possibilities to the teacher to engage and for the learner to engage. So I don't think one can really outline or give a definition as to what the difference is, but certainly it was a revised curriculum, different learning areas, and a slightly different teaching approach to before.
Now, when we look at all the matriculants celebrating passing Matric, we also have to keep in mind that 500,000 Matrics didn't get to Matric, or 500,000 students didn't get to that point. Now, of course, many people are saying that getting that Matric result starts at the bottom. It starts with grade 1. Won't you comment on that for us?
Absolutely yes and no, but it's never too late. You know, at any point in your life, it's never too late to catch up. Certainly, education is not a 1 year point in your life at any given time. It does start right before school even. And I think where our students in our country and specifically are at a disadvantage in that respect, it's going to take a number of years to catch up. And I don't think that can purely be placed on the shoulders of education per se. It's the parents, it's the peers, it's the family support, it's a whole system. It's not just education. Education is one aspect of that, and of course, if improvements or stronger education can be provided, that will help young people to be more successful.
And finally, Peter, can you give us your advice to the class of 2015, who now have big shoes to fill?
Absolutely. You know, there's, in my mind, a couple of basic steps that you can almost teach yourself. The first one starts with attitude. You've got to have the right attitude. You know, sit down a couple of minutes, an hour, 2 hours, a couple of minutes a day and say, where do I want to go in my life and what can I do to change that? You know, I heard an article this morning on the radio where somebody said the only two things that you have full control over in life is attitude and your effort. So if you get that right, number one, you're already on a good path. The second thing that you must look at is academic skills. It's a skill to be academic, but you can learn it. You know, reading skills, listening skills, all of those things you can learn. It doesn't come naturally in a person. So young people who go into Matric next year, work on those basic things. So attitude, academic skills, and then of course things like time management is important, planning is important. You know what, to say I do homework every afternoon is just not good enough. You've got to have a plan. However informal that plan is, preferably in writing. So if you follow some of those basic steps, you will be successful. Not everybody's going to get distinctions, be realistic about that, but your chance of succeeding and passing Matric in 2015 will be just so much bigger.
Peter Creel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.